Whack-A-Lite is based on the traditional concept of whack-a-mole invented in 1976 by Kazuo Yamada in Japan. The game consists of 8 target areas around a central illuminated region that sits on a unit structure at waist height. The unit conceals technology within, making it safe and amusing for the player. The aim is to use the mallet to hit the corresponding target areas indicated by the randomized blue LEDs before the next is lit. If you fail to hit the target area before the next light flashes, a red LED illuminates the central region of the board. Conversely, if you successfully hit the target area within the time, a green LED will flash. The game begins once Easy or Advanced Game Mode is selected. Each mode gives a different user experience. The easier mode is proficient for younger players, whilst the advanced mode might be better suited to older players. After 30 shots of hitting the targets, the game is over and you can see how many of the targets you have successfully hit. The main sensor is the Adafruit MPR121 capacitive touch sensor. The MPR121 uses an I2C communication bus, which is generally used for connecting lower speed integrated circuits to microcontrollers or processors. With pin headers soldered to it, we use the component on a breadboard with wires connecting each of the 1 to 8 pins to their respective target areas. The target areas were made from squares of cardboard wrapped in aluminium foil. It required a custom library from Adafruit to operate. We also reuse some of the code from the example sketch that comes in the package available for download on Adafruit's website to read in the input. For additional input, we considered using a computer keyboard to select the game mode through the serial monitor. However, we ended up using 2 switches as input devices instead. For outputs, we have 10 LEDs in total, 8 blue signalling the current target to hit, and 1 red and 1 green giving instant play feedback to the user. For displaying the current or final score and instructions for choosing the game mode, we use the serial monitor. Once we set up our components, we created a unit to house the pieces. We first drew a 9x9 square grid on some MDF wood and cut relevant edges and dividing parts. At the back of the unit, we cut the wood slightly shorter so there was room to fit the Arduino. We sanded the edges of our wood and then drilled holes into the dividing sections for the wires to be threaded through, and a larger hole in the back panel to allow us to connect the USB cable. We ended up deciding to place the Arduino and breadboards outside the unit so they were easy to adjust if required. Following this, we glued the pieces together and allowed it to dry. We also created a mallet and another piece of wood for the backboard, and on it painted the signage for our game. Once the glue was dry, we painted it white so as to reflect the light emitted from LEDs internally and give a clean finish externally. The components were then inserted into the box and sealed in with some blue acrylic with 8 holes drilled into it for the target placement. We cut 8 pieces of cardboard and covered them and the mallet in aluminium foil and connected them to our existing components with conductive thread. Finally, we attached the sign and the game was ready to play. For making the game, we learned about using custom libraries to set up additional components like our main sensor. Also, we learned how to apply previous knowledge of Java programming to write code for our Arduino in a different language and another IDE. Whack-A-Lite is a fun, interactive game that incorporates lights and physical user interactions for an aesthetically pleasing play. Players are immediately presented with their victories or failures, making them increasingly competitive and ultimately providing them with an entertaining and unusual experience when playing our game.